It's my pleasure today to introduce Vijay sir from Hommission. So Vijay sir has over 30 years of experience in urban planning, working in the banking sector, working in setting up SEZs, and currently runs a very interesting construction company called Hommission. The goal of Hommission, at least what I have understood, is to manufacture homes. How manufacture, you may ask? Sir, thanks a lot for joining us. Can you just give us a brief of Hommission? I mean, how are you going to manufacture homes? That's what I got an idea of from your site, so I'm not sure, and that's why I would love to know from you what exactly is Hommission and how you're planning to manufacture homes.
Homes have always been manufactured, only the degree of manufacturing which went into a home kept increasing over a time. Like if you go back to the very simple things like good old days, people brought the mud from somewhere and somebody brought the water and they mixed it and put those walls called the load bearing walls. But even in that, you did have, if not manufactured, handcrafted windows.
Okay.
Handcrafted doors.
Correct.
Before the concrete came in, your roof was also made by the carpenter.
Correct.
It wasn't manufactured. But if you quickly fast forward, you saw the doors and windows were beginning to get manufactured.
Correct.
So the manufactured component of your house kept increasing.
Okay. Okay.
Today, with various reasons which we can delve into a little later, can you go and build houses the way that have been done so far, knowing jolly well that you needed to build millions of houses? Mr. Modi is doing it.
Correct.
And he is saying, I will build 2 crore houses by 2022. 2 crore houses by 2022, we are sitting and talking in 19, is about 3 years. 3 years is 1,000 days. In 1,000 days, if you are going to talk about building 2 crore or 20 million houses, can you build them?
Okay.
You can't. You need to go into methods which replace slow-paced manual construction, which is what the country has been used to so far, with more and more of manufacturing it like a product.
Correct, yeah.
Is it new? No. Has it been done elsewhere? Yes. Since when? Like I told you, since the Second World War, when the Europeans demolished whatever they had to rebuild.
Correct.
They have been manufacturing the building in the factory as possibly one piece as wall, one piece as column, another piece as beam, another piece as slab, and bringing them at the back of a truck, joining them together, creating the house. Okay. So that was called the segmental precast, or they did it with wood, or they did it with steel.
Okay.
They were all manufacturing.
Okay.
Material may vary.
Correct.
But manufacturing was there from the Second World War time.
Oh, okay.
If you jump into today's condition in India, you suddenly hear about a lot of people talking about precast. In the name of precast, what is being practiced in India is nothing but the Second World War time segmental precast being manufactured in factories or sometimes even at sites as piece by piece. The room we are sitting in, this would possibly have 6 or 10 pieces manufactured, brought together, propped up to alignment, connected, and then the slab is put.
Correct.
Manufacturing again. But a Second World War time class of manufacturing, of course, refined with some amount of mechanization, automation, digitization. But what the world did was, instead of saying world, let's talk about an Asian country which is very well known for providing housing to all the citizens, Singapore. It did the segmental Second World War time technology of 2D precast, 2-dimensional precast, for about 30 years.
Okay.
In 2011, they said enough is enough. Too many pieces, too many joints, too many issues in the leakage and seepage. Can I make the whole room as one single piece?
Okay.
Can I figure out a technology into which I can put reinforcement, into which I can put all the plumbing lines, electrical lines, wall boxes, sensors, and then pour the concrete, take out next day morning, the whole room comes out as single piece. That is probably the most advanced type of manufacturing a house or a building in 2011, 12, 13.
Okay.
Singaporeans have gone further.
Oh, okay.
They have gone further, not only manufacture the four walls and the slab, they have now started adding the floor also in the casting yard,
Oh,
which means now
they are manufacturing buildings.
you manufacture a whole room with all 6 sides,
Okay.
which means the good news for the interior guy is he can now put, be it the cupboard, be it the commode, be it the lights, be it the air conditioners, be it the mirror, everything in the factory like you manufacture a car.
Wow.
You don't make a car shell, bring it to some place and then add seat.
Correct.
Right? You do everything in the factory floor. By the time it hits the showroom, it is ready to be used.
Correct. Yeah.
That's what they have done. They call it precast, pre-finished, volumetric construction.
Okay.
PPVC.
Okay.
And for those who haven't heard about it, it's a shock.
Okay.
Not just surprise. How can it be possible?
Yeah, that's that's the question which even I have right now, actually.
Right? Now, if you look at the recent project, which is, possibly the highest point in applying manufacturing into the built environment and in the most advanced manner, the project probably is Clement Canopy,
Okay.
41 stories.
41 floors. That's 41 floors.
Yeah,
Okay.
41 floors. Manufactured in Malaysia,
Okay.
transported across to Singapore,
Okay.
and installed.
Okay. And like, how long did this take?
They used to do about a floor in a week.
So you're telling me they manufactured a 41-story building in less than a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay, so bringing this back to Hommission. So, I mean, you start Hommission getting inspired by the Singaporean ideas. Like, can you just give me a brief about how you got into Hommission?
Interesting.
Because I got an idea roughly about manufactured homes, what's being done, but I want to know more about Hommission, like how you got into it and why you decided this is going to be where construction is going to go into.
Okay, so I don't know whether I told you, we were consultants to government and a few large corporates. One of our clients said, from wherever we started, we have come to X billion net worth. You have been with us through the journey. The next same quantum of X billion net worth we need to achieve in about 30% lesser time. Which is the industry we should get into? Which is the activity we should get into? What is it that we have got over these 10 years which we can leverage to create the next $10 billion worth of value in 30% lesser time than what it took last time? So we did a lot of study and we said, look, you have done large 5,000, 6,000 acre wide infrastructure development projects. You know how to get the land. You know how to master plan it. You know how to do the detailed engineering. That's the expertise you have. So let's look at what is it that we can do in Indian market with that expertise. Okay. That was 2009-10.
Okay.
And that's the time Government of India was saying in urbanization, we are going to look at urbanization as something good that's happening to the country. We are not going to be singing hallelujah to the, India's soul lives in its villages and we will keep talking about rural. No, urban is a must.
Correct.
Rural also should be there.
Correct.
So, there was a high power expert committee that was set up by Government of India to look at how many new cities we needed to have to meet the demands of urbanization. And we came to the conclusion 32 new cities are required in India, each having a ability to accommodate 1 million people by 2030.
Okay.
Now, we went back to our client and said, 32 new cities, each to accommodate 1 million citizens is required. You have done 6,000, 7,000 acre projects. Can we look at identifying 6,000 acres of land along the economic growth trajectory? Can we go and pick up the land, develop them into brand new cities, right from acquisition of the land, master planning, detailed engineering, economic study, the whole thing was done. Exciting it was, but the key constraint that came about was, how long will it take to develop that 1 million citizen city? The key constraint is how rapidly, how quickly can you do the construction. Luckily, India does its infrastructure fast. The road construction is fast. The metro construction is fast. The flyover construction is fast. Because you have started manufacturing most of those infrastructural elements with precast and other means. Mechanization.
Correct. So, I mean, when I see these metro pillars, they're actually precast and they are just coming and fixing it here. I mean, this is very, of course, very layman language, but correct me if I'm wrong. Like, that's how it is, right? These metro constructions.
It is. Now, if you could do manufactured concrete elements that can withstand tons and tons of force and weight and last 30 years, 40 years, what is preventing us from creating a similar approach to manufacture the building people need in their cities?
Exactly. That's a very simple analogy.
Wasn't it obvious? It was obvious, but why wasn't it happening? There were many issues. So we went around and looked at what are the construction systems available in 2009. Figured, in a broad sense, there are only 9 construction systems available. And if you look at the number of companies, there were about 58 companies who were leaders using some or one of these construction systems. We did a study and kind of came to a conclusion, if we really have to help our client to build a new city fastest, he needs to go into the most advanced. That's when we went and zeroed in on what is called as the 3-dimensional, monolithic, modular precast. Coincidentally, by the time we landed with this study and concluded which technology we want to bring into this country, was 2011. Unknown to us, Singapore made its switch from the 2D to 3D. They called it PPVC, precast, pre-finished volumetric construction. We called it 3-dimensional, monolithic, modular construction. It happened in the same time. But they had a country.
And they had the government.
They had the government, they had the industry. Singapore could prescribe and expect the industry and the people to follow.
Correct. So, I mean, if a lot of people don't know this, Singapore is one of the few countries in the world which has over 90% home ownership. And one of the reasons is every Singaporean, the way we put money in Provident Fund, they are mandated to put some amount which the government uses in actually giving their homes. Right?
Correct.
So that's one of the reasons why the government has a great intent to construct homes for their citizens.
One of the biggest entities of Singapore is HDB, Housing and Development Board. Its main job is to develop the country and ensure that every citizen gets a house. That's how they brought precast, the 2-dimensional, for years, and then they switched it to this.
Did you get in touch with them?
Yes, we did not get in touch with them. Coincidentally, we brought this technology for the client. The client, for whatever reasons, in 8, 9, 10, 11, the recession, etc., he put the project on hold. So we went and found a bride and got the baby for the client, and the client wasn't well enough to take it. So we were left holding the baby, and we took it across to the market to our other clients and said, here is the technology, will you use it? Not many said yes.
Why though? Because I mean, I'm trying to understand, like, and I'm guessing that this was the trigger for you to start Hommission?
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, continue the story. Very sorry to interrupt you.
So no. Good point. When we brought this technology, the technology owner, who is from Australia, who invented this, who created, application of it, got the patents, did not agree to sign up with us directly.
Oh, why?
He didn't know about Indian market. He didn't think Indian market was ready to, do the leapfrogging into this kind of construction technologies. This was in 2011. He didn't believe. So he said, look, I'm not saying no to you, but here is my licensee who has the license. Talk to him and, get into an arrangement. Prove that this technology will be received in India. So we went ahead and talked to our clients, and the clients, some of them were excited, majority of them said, look, why? What's the hurry? I'm a builder. I take money from my client, and I can deliver it at my chosen pace. The RERA wasn't there then.
Yeah.
Right? The project was delayed. I don't think the builder lost money.
He didn't.
Probably made money.
He probably made money, yeah.
In that scenario, why speed?
Correct.
And I get my workers.
Yeah.
Right? Why technology?
Interesting, okay.
Yeah. So, while the end user, the home buyer, may want his house fast, may want his house at an affordable cost, may want his house with a particular quality. All of this can be delivered by manufacturing. The set of people who were holding this responsibility had other objectives.
It was not
other compulsions, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they were not incentivized to deliver in terms of, as you mentioned, right? They were not incentivized to deliver speed or quality.
Yeah. But there were some corporate developers who really cared and wanted to bring in technology, wanted to deliver quality, wanted to deliver speed, wanted to deliver it at affordable cost. One of the largest corporates in 2011-12 had announced affordable housing is going to be the next future. The managing director of that company set up a separate vertical for affordable housing.
Can you,
I can mention the name. It is my client. It's Tata Housing. Tata Housing, the managing director then had already set up a separate entity called Tata Value Homes. And he had already attempted delivering affordable homes in mass scale with the different types of technologies. He had challenge. And that's when, by providence, we just ran into them. And they said, Mahindras had also started by that time something called Happy Nest. So they were wanting to deliver the houses.
So this is all in 2011-12?
11-12.
Oh, wow,
11-12-13. Yeah. So when we ran into them, they said, okay, looks like this is what we are looking for. We already are trying the 2D segmental technology in one of our projects. We are having these following issues. If you are bringing 3D monolithic modular, all these connections and joints and leakages automatically are taken care, and you are doing it, you are willing to do at my site. You are not transporting from a factory. So let's talk. That's how it started. The first project, I call it, goodness of the company or their value system. Tata said, here is the project. You bring the machine to my site, and here is the design which is existing, and manufacture a building which has got 20 apartments, 5 stories, how fast can you do it?
Wow, okay. And this is back in 2000.
This we took up in 15, and
Okay.
and and that building was delivered 5-story,
5 story, that's 5 floor, okay.
5 floors, 20 apartments,
Okay.
33 days.
33 days
Yes.
from.
Start of manufacture of the first room to handing over the building to the client on 33rd day.
No, I'm not. Okay, so when you say start of manufacture, you're talking about even including the foundation and all that?
Yes, concurrent. Yeah.
33 days.
Yeah.
Typically that's how long a carpenter takes to furnish a fully finished home.
Very true.
You delivered a 5-story house, 5-story apartment with 20 houses. What was the average size of each house?
Average size must have been about 400 to 500.
1 BHK, 2 BHK, small houses.
1 BHK.
So that's about a 10,000 square feet apartment.
Little more than 20,000.
So in 33 days.
Yeah.
Are people living there? Is the building?
It's a very large project. There were multiple buildings.
Okay.
So, they will start handing over the buildings now in batches. I think this building will go now into the hands of the end user, buyer.
So 2015, when you say 33 days, I mean you started it in January and you were done by March.
We started off in January and handed it over. 2016 January we started.
Okay.
And by Feb we handed over, mid-Feb.
What? Wow, so this was the first project which you guys took up.
Yeah.
Crazy. And what was the number is just mind-boggling to me because typically, right, we're used to hearing things like 1.5 years, 2 years, 3 years, even 4 years sometimes for construction. You're talking about 33 days, that's like exponential gain in speed.
The buildings next to the building we manufactured were started before us.
Okay.
Still going on.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is pretty incredible. So when you're saying 3D monolithic manufactured homes and the way you started it and your journey to your first project, I'm surprised, like, why haven't you guys done more projects since then? Of course, I mean, why haven't you guys got more attention if you had to guess?
We did. If you recall, you asked me a question, whether did I meet the Singaporeans.
Yes.
Singaporeans heard about what we did for Tata Housing.
Okay.
Because the Tata Housing does follow the quality systems of the Building and Construction Authority of Government of Singapore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Tata Housing has actually made it more stringent. The Singaporeans call it concours.
Okay.
These guys have got their, improved or more stringent version. Wow. We had to comply with that. We complied with that. And it had to be tested.
Okay.
To test a building like this, they had to bring companies from Singapore.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So before we got this completion certificate from the client, all these tests had to be done. The leakage test, waterproofing, etc., all that was done, handed over. That's when Government of Singapore Building and Construction Authority hears about what somebody in India has done something near Bombay.
Okay.
And very casual conversation, we get a call saying, we are from BCA, can we come in and meet up with you, etc. And for us, if Singapore BCA is coming in, it's like God asking, can I come and see you? Because they were the gods in this space. We're obviously very excited, and the director and the India head, 2 gentlemen landed, and that's when we started getting a sense of. We started in 2011. Singapore also started in 2011. Singapore as a country did much more, but we at least have done this building. The good news was Singapore was incurring about 300 Singapore dollars per square foot as the cost of construction.
Okay.
Tata Housing was an affordable housing project.
Okay.
We had to deliver it at 980 Indian rupees.
So that's about $10. $10, $15.
20 Sing dollars.
So, okay.
300 versus 20.
Wow. And the people who had come from Singapore to test it, you have obviously got the completion certificate, right?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. They must have been shocked.
They were not shocked, they were happy. Then they asked us to come over to Singapore and do what is called as a knowledge sharing session.
Okay.
In 2017, we were in Singapore 3 times.
Wow, okay.
First was in April, second one was somewhere in May or August sometime, and then third time was in November. That's when we discovered that what we have got is of possibly among the best in the world.
Wow, okay. So
that was a revelation for us.
Till then, you were not even sure where you stood across the globe. You were just trying to get affordable housing done.
Yeah. You just stood there, as one lone warrior and did what you believed in.
Yeah.
And then you suddenly got the context and you got a comparison.
Correct.
That is what gave us a lot of energy. While all this was hunky-dory good, the next stage of the project we were supposed to do for Tatas was not done by us.
Okay.
Because there was an issue between the technology owner and the licensee. And
oh my God, okay. So don't tell me you got caught up in bureaucracy and compliance.
No. It's a commercial issue between the technology owner and the technology licensee with whom I had signed.
Wow.
Okay. So I had married the daughter and the father disowned the daughter. So that's what happened.
Yeah, got it.
So
that's fine, I'm sure.
Then it got sorted out. God was kind, and the technology owner saw the value, came to us and said, why don't we sign up directly? And that's when Hommission was born.
Wow, okay. So this was the journey to Hommission.
Correct. That's when it was born.
Absolutely incredible. So starting from pretty much working on a research for a client to delivering a project and getting that you pretty much... This is what India is known for, right? Like even the mission to Mars, we've been able to do at a cost which people can't even imagine. Lesser budget than the Avengers movie, if I'm not wrong.
Absolutely.
So it's a similar thing. Like I don't think $10 to $20 a square feet is absolutely amazing compared to what they were getting, which is $300. So
20 Sing dollars, not American dollars.
Yeah, Singaporean dollars.
Singaporean dollars. Yep. And now, like you already said it, India has volume.
Correct.
I don't know whether you saw yesterday's report. It said the third largest construction market in the world already, definitely by 2022, is going to be India.
Wow.
That's the scale we have.
Yeah, that's absolutely
But remember, you need to deliver quality, you need to deliver speed, but you cannot increase the cost.
Yeah. That's one of the things, right? India is one of the toughest markets. Like if you're able to deliver on all 3 terms, there's nothing which is going to stop you, right?
And it's possible.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say that. I mean, you've actually done it with delivered
and it's possible. And it is possible.
So let's transition to this. So now that you've told about how you went about starting Hommission and working on your first project. So I read this book, and in that there's one very interesting quote. Any company which, or any industry rather, which you take a person from 50 years ago or 30 years ago, you pretty much take him from there and you drop him in the current situation. And if he can still function, and if he can still make sense, and if he doesn't feel like he's actually come to the future, that industry is ripe for disruption. And construction is one such industry, at least which I have felt. Apart from basic machinery like concrete mixing, at least in India of what I have seen, apart from basic machinery like having better cranes or better concrete mixing things, a lot of things still happen in a very traditional manner. So I want you to tell us a bit more about the construction industry specifically in India. And you told about how you're disrupting it, but why has it not been, why has it not grown at the pace? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, if I take a person 50 years ago who was doing construction in India, I take him and I drop him today, he'll actually still be able to work, and that's really wrong if you think about it. That means what? Advancement has not happened in that industry, right? So why do you think it's not happened, and what's I don't know, preventing people from experimenting with at least newer and newer technologies, or whatever it is in this industry in India?
What you said is true very, very much about India. But the further unfortunate thing is construction industry across the world has stayed far behind in terms of productivity, in terms of technology adoption. If at all there is an awakening and saying we need to go into greater productivity, better quality, making the whole activity less inhuman, has come in only in the recent past. Across the world.
It's not just restricted to India.
No. And if you look at the new breed of technologies called, be it construction technology, be it property technology, changes are happening. Good news is, yes, the guy who was there 50 years back, if you brought him today into construction back, he will be able to function. Is true. It's very sad truth.
Yeah.
Will he be able to function 2 years from now? Is where you have good news. The rapidity with which things are changing. Is very promising.
So, can you give me an example? So, one is, give me an example in the sense of when you say rapid change, right? What is that one thing which you think every single company will adopt? Small, big, it doesn't matter. Every single builder, every single developer should or will adopt it. Because see, what I have felt is India as a market has always got matured products and technology. So what do I mean by that? We still don't have broadband penetration, but we directly got 4G LTE. We still don't have laptops and computers in everyone's homes, but we directly got smartphones. So what is that thing which you think will get rapidly adopted in India?
Fantastic. We used to say the latecomer will always go for the latest.
That's true, yeah.
That's the advantage the latecomer has. He doesn't have to go through the stages. He will pick the latest and leap forward. Exactly. We did that in telecom.
Yeah, we did that in telecom, exactly, yeah.
Everybody else was behind. And we still are ahead.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Can we do that in construction? Are we going that direction? Yes. What is that one thing that will happen in the construction industry? Every home buyer would look for, he would look for, is my house a project or is it a product?
Okay, that's an interesting classification. Okay.
Yeah. Project is, okay, I have this 30-40 plot and I need to go find an architect and then get his drawings done, then get the approval done, and from then I will look for a local contractor. Local contractor will say, okay sir, I will do it in this time, and I don't know what material he is using and how many days leave I can take. I get fatigued, fed up with the pace. And that's when the contractor actually builds, because he knows I am not going to go to the site anymore. And then what I get is what I get.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
The initial enthusiasm is worn out.
Correct.
That's a project.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't go buy steel. You don't ask a tinker mechanic to make your car. Do you?
No, of course you don't. Yeah.
Right. You go to the showroom and say, hey, that one. Oh, this is the price, this is the EMI, can I buy it? Okay, I pay this advance, the rest of it is processed. When can I get it registered? When can it come to my house?
When will you ship it?
Precisely. That's exactly what would happen to the house in India, if not across India, at least in places where the individual home builders are looking to build their house.
Oh, okay.
You should know an interesting statistics.
Okay.
Even today, over 60% of the houses are built by the individual
Okay.
as individual home builder. All your contractors and developers, etc., 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 which you see with all the hoarding, is only catering to about 30% of the market.
Wow, that's absolutely massive. I did not know the number was that different.
Talk to any building material manufacturer, cement manufacturer, steel manufacturer. He will worry to death about how do I get that market? That is 60% of my market. How do I sell my cement to that individual? How do I sell my steel to that individual?
Correct.
How do I sell my tile to that individual?
Correct.
The advantage the individual is going to get is like a car manufacturer is the original equipment manufacturer who creates the ecosystem of all the suppliers, aggregates it without intermediary, turns it into a finished product of guaranteed quality, complying with guaranteed norms, gives it at competitive price. That would come to house.
Nice. That's a very, very different way of looking at homes. Actually, as you mentioned, as and when people more and more start looking at homes as products instead of projects, that will be the shift which will happen.
Inevitable. Time has come. That's a smartphone equivalent in housing.
Yes.
People will walk into the showroom and say, or look at a catalog on their mobile phone and say, okay, flip. Okay, this is what I want. These are the changes I want in this. Can I place an order? When are you getting it delivered into my house? Most of the states have already done away with the prior approval for getting individual house done. I hope you are aware of that.
Oh, I did not know this. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Up to 2,400 square foot plot size, the individual does not need a prior permission from government to start construction.
Wow, across India?
Karnataka, yes.
Okay.
Tamil Nadu, yes.
Okay.
It's being prescribed as one of the prerequisites by the federal government on the state government as part of the reform. Ease of doing business in India, in construction, approval.
Yes.
So they have pushed it, and the state governments are adopting. Karnataka state government has announced, Tamil Nadu state government has announced, and some of the other state governments have announced saying if you are an individual, you have a piece of land, don't worry about getting the approval as long as you are complying with the bylaws.
Okay.
Go ahead and build. And when you come for the OC, at that time, I will check whether
what's the OC?
Occupancy certificate,
Okay,
occupation certificate.
Okay.
At that stage, you come to me if you have not violated the rules.
I'll give you the certificate.
I'll give you the certificate. Don't wait for my approval.
This is absolutely amazing. Reduces a lot of bureaucracy, and as you said, this will be the trigger, I guess, to push people to product-based approach. What you mentioned, right, is in a small way happening in actually the interior and the furniture segment, where companies like Livespace, Home Lane, Design Cafe, all these interior companies, they have ready catalogs and people just pick, and the entire model of furniture is just fitted into their home within 5 days or 6 days. Whereas typically you would get a carpenter to do your work, and very interesting. So basically, if you stretch that forward to an entire home, the entire home as a product, that's what you're telling will be the trend for the construction industry going forward.
For the home buyer.
For the home buyer, okay.
For the home buyer, the individual home buyer will switch to a ready-made product. Can I buy? Like I buy my refrigerator, like buy my washing machine, like I buy my whatever is the home appliance. Can I buy it? That's where he's going to go.
Nice. So now let's get into this. So you spoke about the individual home buyer. Now, what if I am a builder, I am an architect? Why should I care about this technology?
Let's go into the builder class / developer. they didn't have to really worry too much about these kind of methodologies and technologies earlier.
Why?
Because there wasn't a law. There wasn't a prescription and binding thing that you had to honor by law until the RERA came in.
Okay, that's the Real Estate Regulatory Act, for people who don't know.
Yeah.
But okay, so after RERA came in?
After RERA came in, if you had said you will deliver the project in X months, and if you don't deliver, you could be taken to
court.
Of course.
And wow, okay, you couldn't do that before?
No.
Okay, seemed very...
And just look at the real estate news.
Okay.
Who is who? Who were the builders earlier? Where are they? Are they out or are they in?
Correct.
Yeah. RERA brought that to fear of law. Obligation to deliver.
Correct.
As per the promise you made.
Correct.
Today, that compulsion of delivering in time, not only delivering in time, delivering a quality, as you mentioned, and at the cost you mentioned, has been put on the builder, developer, by law.
Wow, okay. This was not there before. RERA was passed very recently, right? 2016, yeah, very recent for this industry. So it's just 3 years. So tell me this, slightly off topic, but is this one of the reasons for the real estate slowdown?
Clean up, I would say.
Oh, okay. Interesting choice of words.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not choice of word because that's the truth. If you looked at a stock of, let us say, 100,000 houses, how many of the 100,000 houses were actually invested into by someone like you and I who needed a house to live?
Okay.
Versus, how many of those houses were actually invested into by somebody who had some surplus money? He thought this is an asset into which I can invest and it will automatically appreciate.
Correct.
I can get my money.
Correct.
So it was a commodity in trade for me.
Okay, it was not necessarily
No.
like a right out.
It was an investment vehicle.
Okay.
In the name of house.
Correct.
Correct? So then, the investor also said, if it is delayed, I'm happy.
It's going to appreciate.
Anyway, right?
Yeah.
So what's the hurry?
Correct.
Which is logically right. From their point of view, they were right.
Yeah, the economic incentive for them at that point was that actually. The economic incentive is to delay.
That's where an entity like the government has to come in and say, hey, you make your money, no problem. But are you hurting the guy who really needs a house?
Correct. That's
If you are, then I need to bring in the regulation and clean up. When the regulation came, some of the players were too deep into the other game.
Okay. They were not treating a real estate as a service to give people a house or a living space. They were treating it as a commodity in trade, like a stock market.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
RERA came in.
Yeah.
And you said, is it a slowdown? No, it's a cleanup.
Okay.
Today, the real gentleman who needs a house can look at the market and say, our MG Road used to have hoardings. If you recall, what was the price of a unit which was advertised in those hoardings, minimum, maximum?
I have seen hoardings for 13 lakhs 99,000. I've seen hoardings for 999. I've seen hoardings for even 2.5 crores, 5 crores, 7 crores. I've seen the entire spectrum.
So, when the government of India did the study, 90% of the demand for housing was at segment A and B below that.
Okay.
90% of the supply was neither for this nor for that, but for something else.
For the very high.
So there was a total demand-supply mismatch.
Correct.
That's what you had.
Correct.
Before RERA came in.
Oh, okay.
Today, everybody is talking about affordable housing. Everybody is talking about small ticket product.
Correct.
Everybody is talking about.
So the range would be somewhere around, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 lakhs?
Depends on the location, the land
Yeah,
cost.
of course.
So today they're talking about 30, 40, 50 lakh houses. 30, 40, 50 lakh house means a guy who is earning X amount has to put out, if it's a 50 lakh house, per month EMI is going to be in the range of 50,000. 50,000, if he has to pay for the housing loan, as an ex-banker I can tell you that my not more than 25% of my total income can be set aside for loan repayment, which means I should have an earning of about 2 lakh rupees. Or me, I and whoever else is in my family together should earn that much.
Correct.
When the house is at 2 crore, then you can figure out what is the
earning potential.
required.
At least 5 to 6 lakhs a month. Wow.
And who was investing into it? Was a genuine home buyer buying it?
No.
So that was the scenario. Anyway, that's the industry status.
Correct.
It has been cleaned up, I think, with government's initiative of building houses for everyone. There is enough construction activity.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, in the market. So that's the good news. And the developers are, I think, redefining their game.
That's good. So actually, if you think about it, although in the short term it may seem like a slowdown, as you said, it's a cleanup rather. The genuine developers actually will sustain, I guess.
They are the ones who are coming back to us.
Correct.
They are the ones who are coming back.
Correct.
The same developer who I spoke to in 2012, 13, 14, he said, "Bahut acha hai. Very good." But dekhte.
We'll let you know, yeah.
Yeah, we'll let you know. Very polite. He gave me a coffee and then say, "We'll see you." Today, the same set of developers call back and say, "Kar sakte? This is a project coming up."
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So that's happening.
That's wonderful.
So the developers are, put to task to deliver, and they need means to deliver.
Correct.
And the means to deliver is
manufacturing.
And manufacturing is hence going to be the future, be it the individual home builder, be it the developer. That's our belief.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And I mean, this does make sense in the same way that for how commodities, manufacturing was a huge boost, where the standard of living, of course, people say that, previously it was amazing and all. If you think about it and you take an average person today and you take an average person 50 years ago before the complete industrialization of commodities, the average person today is living a very royal life.
Yeah.
Because the food he gets, the clothes he's getting to wear, what only royalty could afford previously. So this does make sense that, of course, there's a different set of complexities, but construction should move to a manufacturing model. Like it makes sense, like what you said, moving to a product-based approach is what's going to be the way which the housing crisis, if that's the right word, is going to be solved.
Yes, and the good news is it's not just the industry, it's not just the law, it's not just the expectation of the people who want houses. Lucky situation is the government, the ministry, the departments in ministry have become the evangelists to say construction should move from manual to manufacturing.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people will not. I can assure you this. A lot of people don't know about this. The common sense, the general sense in the market is the government doesn't do anything. But if a government is able to take a stand that this is going to be the future of construction, which is manufacturing, that's actually a very good stand if you think about it, right?
It is. In fact, I'm just not making a claim. I would share this fact with you. Just before the general elections were announced, one of the things just before the announcement of election, the Prime Minister did was personally stood and inaugurated a challenge called Global Housing technology challenge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he declared 2019 and 20 as the year of construction technology.
Wow, this is really good news. So
If you type GHTC, Global Housing Technology Challenge,
sure, I'll link it in the description. Yeah.
and we won.
Oh wow. Okay, congratulations, sir. I did not know that.
We were among the shortlisted ones in
Wow.
that.
Incredible. Okay.
Yeah.
So now this is why a builder should care about it. This is where it's going forward, and it's in your best economic interest to invest.
Truly, because when the factors force an industry or people's preferences demand it,
Okay.
enabled by the government's regulatory framework as well as incentives
Okay.
and programs, government didn't stop just by doing this technology challenge. Before they announced the challenge, they actually sat down and released what is called as a schedule of rates. Without schedule of rate, you cannot put a new technology in front of a government functionary or a department.
So what's the schedule of rates, sir? I didn't understand.
Like if you are going and building a house, what will be the cost of sand? What will be the cost of cement?
Oh.
What will be the cost of mixing the cement and concrete? What will be the labor cost?
Okay.
So when you bid for a project in government, they will follow the schedule of rates.
Okay. Okay.
Now, if you are bringing in a new technology where you are going to get ready-mix concrete and put reinforcement bars as welded mesh and pour concrete into it with all the conduits and take out the whole thing like magic wand, pour it in the evening, next day take out the room. Now, how do I arrive at the cost of it? What is my reference point?
Correct.
That has to come from Government of India.
Correct.
The Government of India first worked on arriving at the schedule of rate for each of the new technologies which bring in manufacturing the building.
Correct. So in a way where they have, this is the rate for petrol and this is the rate for diesel, they told that for construction these are the rates.
These are the rates.
Okay.
That is a lot of work.
Yeah. It's absolutely.
And across interministerial, interdepartmental, they did set up a group and they did deliver these rates. Otherwise, it's all talk. These guys did. If they are able to deliver lakhs and lakhs of houses, it's because all the underlying framework has been put in place. In fact, there is an organization, I don't know whether you heard about them, called the Building Material and Technology Promotion Council of India, BMTPC.
I will definitely link this in the description. Very interesting.
The amount of work that entity is doing to bring in new building material, new construction technology, I always used to admire Singaporeans saying, look at Singaporeans, look at the documents they publish, look at BCA, Building and Construction Authority of Government of Singapore. Today, you can say with a little bit of a sense of, if not pride, at least satisfaction, this government, this ministry, this new gentleman, new team, which is, focusing on this, is great.
Wonderful.
Good job.
Now, tell me about this. What would you say to architects, the people who actually design the house, the people who are studying architecture? What should they know about this technology? What should they know about the future of construction? Because when you think about it, they design the space, right? They design the place where we're going to build our memories, and they do have a lot of responsibility on them. And of course, they want to be on the cutting edge. So what do you think they should think about this technology? Why should they care about this technology? I mean, in their perspective, how important is 3D monolithic construction or any other future construction methods like this?
See, for a designer who is creating the space in which each one of us live, he needs a few assurances. A, you are not going to bring a system which puts constraints on his freedom to design.
Correct.
Fundamental.
Correct.
That's a core thing an architect requires. Second, whatever I have designed, will it be delivered? They will always say, as drawn, drawing is one set.
Okay.
As built, drawing is another set. They always have two sets of drawings.
Correct.
Because in construction, you couldn't deliver what was drawn.
Correct.
Correct? You bring in manufacturing. Will there be a car designer who designs and gives out a drawing and the car looks different?
Impossible.
Can a cell phone be designed by the designer and engineer and the cell phone looks different?
No ways.
Right?
No ways, yeah.
Because they manufacture, because they go into high sophisticated levels of manufacture, both are same.
Okay.
So good news for the designers, architects, engineers is, it will be as designed, as drawn, as intended, manufactured and delivered.
Okay.
So possibly that will give them a sense of comfort.
Correct.
They don't need to add a lot of cushion. They expect errors. They expect variations.
Correct.
Hence they add a lot of flab.
Correct.
Maybe that flab can go away. The cost of that flab, cost of that effort can go away. One.
Wow, okay.
Now, normally whatever you design today is either built with, in India, 90%, 95% with concrete. And how do you build the concrete? You put them as load-bearing skeleton, which is column and beam. Right? Whatever 3D monolithic modular precast does is it just captures the same grid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there isn't any variation that is brought in by the technology as an additional constraint. In fact, it's reverse. An architect earlier had to follow the vertical linearity and how much he cantilever.
Correct.
Within that only he had to create the form.
Correct.
Within that only he had to create the space. Now, 3D monolithic modular precast is not on certain portions as load-bearing element. Every square foot of this structure which is manufactured, taken out, is equivalent to your column and beam.
Oh.
Which means you don't have to have, straight line verticality. You could twist it. You could turn it.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen that building on the way to airport? Hebal on the right-hand side.
I haven't actually.
It will come up like this and the next floor will twist and go higher.
Yes, I've seen it.
You've seen it?
Yes.
That was achieved with a lot of effort and a lot of design in the conventional. If it was in modular,
it wouldn't. You're telling it would be very simple?
Yeah, because everything is load bearing. I could twist it and the structural characteristics won't be compromised.
Interesting.
So, new forms, new shapes, precise openings as he envisages. If you have to create a round window opening, imagine the struggle when you are doing it with hollow blocks or bricks or what you need to do. Where here...
You basically need an artisan over there.
Correct. Here I just put a cutoff and when I pour the concrete, that round is not filled.
That's it. Okay.
That's it. So any opening he wants, any form factor he wants, I can manufacture. Of course, within the boundaries of the concrete's properties.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's same in convention.
In the convention also, yeah, he can't.
For the architect, he gets no restraints or constraints on the design. He can create new forms, new shapes, new openings. And he can be assured that what he has drawn is what will be built.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. So, you were mentioning about cars and how the smartphone, for example, the product comes as the designer intended. In this case, I highly doubt two homes will be the same, right? In those cases, they mass manufacture a single piece thousands of times, millions of times even. But how are you assuring independence or lack of constraints to a designer, to an architect? I didn't understand that part.
Okay. Normally, an architect puts a form and ensures the four corners and the top beam and the slab will hold the structural strength.
Correct.
The rest is where he plays. He says, I want a window of this size here, I want this shape, this form, curvature. is what he wants. So I can manufacture the whole room with all 4 walls and the slab at one pour, or I can make it as a table or a stool, the slab and 4 corners.
So you're telling me these elements are something which you can customize as per the design. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Wow. So, I mean, if an architect or a designer is interested in this, where do you think they should find more material to research on this particular construction technology on?
On 3D monolithic modular precast, there's quite a few. Most of the countries have gone into modular. If you just type modular, you would see enough of material today, be it from Western countries, be it from Singapore, be it from Asian countries, you would have enough. And if you really want to see in the context of India, Asian, where it has been done, dusted, proven to the stringent standards, Singapore. Okay. If you go and type a PPVC anywhere, it would show all that has been done through 3D monolithic modular equivalent in other countries. Name is different, but the methodology is same.
Okay. Okay. Next. Now, coming back to the individual homeowner. So now, from his perspective, what matters to him is he wants to make sure that he's probably going to construct 1 or 2 homes in his entire lifetime. So it's got to last very long. He, unlike a builder who can say hire some property managers, right? He doesn't want to spend time in maintenance. He wants the lowest maintenance possible. He wants a designer you've covered, but he wants something affordable because I'm sure you're aware of this, like an individual in India is not that rich. So how does this technology take care of these aspects, these parameters? Or if there's any other parameters you feel a homeowner would worry about, you can add on that and how this technology takes care of that.
First and foremost, is there a guarantee of by when he will get the house?
Okay, that's
okay. 2, is there a guarantee about the material that goes into making that house?
Okay.
Quality, time. And is there a guarantee about the cost when he steps in to build his house?
Okay.
Ask any individual who has built his own house, where did he start? And by the time the house finished, where was it?
Correct.
Now, we don't suffer that when we go buy a product.
Correct.
When we go buy a product, the price, the quality, everything is known. You can see it.
It's predefined.
Now, when in case of 3D monolithic modular precast, we actually tell the customers who want an independent house to be manufactured, we tell them, can you take 3 days leave?
Okay. Because
in 3 days, I'll manufacture his entire house in my factory.
Okay.
With the 6 rooms, my 2 molds will manufacture the 6 rooms in 3 days.
3 days?
That's it.
Okay, and this is just the concrete structure?
Yeah. Okay. The concrete structure, the rooms.
Wow, okay.
And that's when you do the foundation works concurrently.
Okay.
At the site.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if he says, no, I want it finished.
Okay.
Yeah. You could put in another, depending upon what kind of a finish he wants. Simple tile or marble or this paint, etc., etc., etc. There is a certain time. Effectively, you could look at the possibility of delivering a villa in a week if everything was planned, worked out right.
Yeah, actually, I had seen this tagline on your website, a villa in a week.
Yep.
This is not a marketing gimmick or anything like that. This is actually something you can deliver.
It's done. It's done by the same technology owner in Australia. In Australia, you have a catalog. You pick which house you want. And if there you need to have a permit.
Okay.
So once the permit is in, he says, okay, I start manufacturing. You come over, take a look at which concrete goes in, which steel bar went in, which walls box went in, which switches are put. Watch everything.
Wow.
You know what you are going to live in for the next 30, 40, 50 years.
Exactly, and it's
You have seen
regular.
it. You have seen it. You're not heard, you've seen it. Yeah? So that is what we need to bring into the houses.
So you're telling me, I come to Hommission, I finalize the details, I take a vacation for 7 days and I come back, I can go back to my new home.
Potentially, yes. 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 In fact, we tell the clients, saying, pick a date.
Okay.
Your wedding anniversary, your child's birthday, or your birthday, or your wife's birthday. Pick that date. And we will deliver. If we don't, we take a penalty, like your Domino pizza. We will take a penalty.
30 minutes se kam varna
If I don't deliver guaranteed time, then I take a penalty.
Wow.
I could say it not because we are cheeky or anything, because the technology enables it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. And this particular villa in a 7 days predefined, the designs, the parameters have to be predefined. Once you finalize on the spec,
we
then
start manufacturing. We start manufacturing.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We start manufacturing.
Are there any projects going on?
The next one will be near Bangalore airport. In fact, we have a kind of a tie-up with Ultratech.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we would be putting the facility to manufacture the individual homes here in Bangalore.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Now let's get into this. So when I was researching before this, I came across this Chinese company called Broad Sustainable Building, and again, I mean, these numbers are just mind-blowing to me because I've seen how construction happens normally. But they delivered 30 floors in 15 days.
True. Can. Yes. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
And
yes, they did.
And they have a slightly different approach than yours. I think they use a lot of metal structures. I'm not sure. I mean, you'll have to tell me that. But how is this technology different from yours? Or, I mean, what are the pros, cons in each one? Like, can you just give a brief summary of this? Because I couldn't understand a lot of the things they were doing.
Okay, what Broad Group did was, it kind of deconstructed the whole structure into components.
Okay.
And among those components, they figured, how do I standardize these components?
Okay.
So that typology-wise, they are limited. I can rapidly manufacture them. And once I have manufactured to precision, this is going to be my structural or the skeleton of the building.
Okay.
Whatever else needs to be filled in, can I standardize that too, get it manufactured?
Okay. Okay.
So this pace you saw does not include the time it was involved in planning, the time that was involved in manufacturing, the time that was involved in transporting.
And all this is fully standardized, so there's no concept of customization here.
They standardized.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is possible to customize. It's today in anything you can do mass customization.
Oh, okay.
It's possible.
Okay.
Because the minute you have a system which will deliver, like your 3D printing.
Correct.
If the system will deliver what you have designed. Yeah, the 3D monolithic modular precast may be very close to your 3D printing. You can design and it will deliver. So coming back to the Broad Group China project, this is when they assemble the structure.
Okay.
That period. And because these components were precisely designed and precisely manufactured, it fell into place.
Okay.
We, from India, some of the corporates and us, we did go. Well, it's nice, iconic, trophy stuff, cost.
Oh, it was very expensive?
It's very expensive. It's very, very hard.
How much did it end up costing them per square feet? If you have to
It will go to about a little more than what it cost Singaporeans to do PPVC.
Wow, okay.
It will go higher than that.
So maybe $400, $500 a square feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now what we need to do is we need to find a technology or a methodology which delivers quality, which guarantees time, But both these are secondary factors. The primary one is cost.
True. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we need to look at as far as Indian housing market, the to mass Indian housing market is concerned.
True. I mean, and this is true for any new housing market, right? Like most of the developed countries have houses, so any developing countries can't spend too much.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay. Now, I wanted to talk about this. A very unknown fact about construction industry. It does pollute the environment a lot. Many people don't realize this. I mean, the cement powder and all these, the amount of material which goes into construction, what gets released, extremely damaging to the environment. Like, let's talk about your technology. How does it damage the environment in the same way? Like, how different is it? I would like to understand the environmental impact of your tech compared to the traditional methods or even any other methods which are there.
Yeah, you must have read the reports. National Green Tribunal says stop construction during this period in Delhi or in NCR area.
Exactly.
The reason is the way we do construction, we deal with material.
Okay.
We deal with cement, we deal with, all sorts of things, not manufactured things. The minute you go into manufacturing the thing, are you going to have masons mixing the plaster in the side and splashing it on the wall to make it even?
No, you would not.
You do that in conventional construction.
Okay.
You do that in 80-90% of the construction. In fact, if you heard some of the other experts in the industry, they would say, India is one country where the amount of plaster they use in construction is probably highest in the world. Because you do plaster to cover up. You create a lot of waste. You do a lot of wet work in the site.
Okay.
You do things in a crude manner. That's what causes all those, health hazard, accident risk, threat to life. All this happens because of the way you do the construction. That was the way available to us so far. Now, with manufacturing coming in, whether you manufacture at the site itself, you have brought in a factory setup. You are not going to let wet work happen in open. You are not going to let that float around in the air.
Correct.
Hence, world over, whenever you have gone into mechanized or manufacturing form of construction is concerned, all these polluting issues that you have, they significantly drop. That's one of the reasons you would see in the BMTPC, Government of India, Ministry of Housing. They will keep pushing, among the reasons for adopting manufacturing, reducing the challenges at the site. The environment, health and safety, which is a big challenge. EHS is a big challenge for construction. They will try and promote manufacturing because these EHS issues are reduced or controlled or minimized.
Let me ask you this. You spoke about 3D monolithic construction. You spoke about what Broad Group uses in China. What are some other construction techniques which anyone in this industry, yourself included, are looking forward to or should look forward to? One example is I'm very interested in 3D printing, so I had come across 3D printed homes. This is just an example of innovation in construction industry. So what are other innovations which you are looking forward to happening in this industry, which you want to embrace but it's not yet ready or is soon going to be ready, if that's the right word?
If we for a moment agree that this shift from project-based to productized homes will come into being, the minute you get into a product mode, it becomes possible for you to add a lot of things which you couldn't add so far in a manual construction. For example, can I now inlay hydroponic tubes which will run at my site 30 feet or 40 feet below. I can circulate water 30 feet, 40 feet below my site. The temperature, even in the day, is cooler.
Yes.
Can I just let water circulate there and come back into my building, because all my building walls already have this inlaid tubes.
Wow, that.
Do I need air conditioning?
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Do I need air conditioning? Am I consuming electricity?
Correct.
Am I creating pollution? Can I insulate the envelope of my building, which is exposed to sun for a certain number of hours, which is what enables or causes the heat gain, which means my air conditioning load goes up or my discomfort goes up if I don't have the air conditioner.
Yeah.
Can I insulate my wall as part of manufacturing with a certain thickness of thermal insulation panel? Yes. So if you talk about energy saving, if it is talking about water harvesting, you create a foundation. How do you create a foundation in India now? You dig the earth. Why? Irrespective of the soil bearing capacity, the first thing you do is you dig the earth.
Correct. Yeah.
And then in the name of foundation, you lay certain concrete structure. And then you bring the earth and backfill. And then you compact that earth. Right? Imagine you have a 3D monolithic modules manufactured without any additional joint. It is monolithic. Use that as the structural element at the foundation. Mm-hmm. Do you need to fill it now? You don't have to. If you don't fill it, there is a void. What can you use it for?
I don't know, use it as a additional storage, I guess, some sort of storage.
Storage of what? Your rainwater?
Oh yeah.
And a 1,200 square foot plot in Bangalore, each year you get a minimum of 1 lakh liters of water.
Wow, okay.
Did you do anything additional? Do you have to rely on the municipal or Kaveri water? It was there, sent to your house from the skies. You just made a provision, and it is nothing new.
Yeah.
The Kachis in Gujarat may not have rain for 3 years. They live because in their conventionally constructed houses, underneath that, they have a water storage facility.
Correct.
Coated with lime.
Yes.
We had it as part of us.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we bring it back?
Yeah, why did we move away from it?
Exactly. Today, whether it is water, when I manufacture this, I can provide all the studs for fixing your solar panel. You can bring your solar panel and click on. So,
like a case, a phone case.
Exactly. Like a phone cover. So, we can give you jaga. I can let you make bijli. Mm-hmm. I can help you to collect your own water and do it all in one. So it is bijli, jaga, pani, all in unison. So we keep joking, saying BJP in Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. You said, what can be done?
Okay.
When you adopt this kind of approaches, which is radically different, whatever was even unthinkable earlier, like BJP in Congress,
yeah,
is reality, right?
Correct.
Sustainability, and you want to go net zero, you want to go off grid, you want to go off municipal water supply, it becomes possible.
Correct. Interesting.
Yeah. Other than that, you can bring in any kind of a sensor. You can bring in any kind of a security system. We manufacture these as one module of 300 square foot with all 6 sides, doors, windows, and we call it a tiny home. You can put it in the back of a truck, a trailer, take it, park it in the middle of the most beautiful place for 6 months.
Wow, okay.
Put it back in the trailer, go to a water body, park it there. That's what people do. internationally. Why should house become such a long, drawn, convoluted, challenging, stressful activity on the day of Griha Pravesh?
Yeah.
You are heaving a sigh of relief. You are not celebrating with joy. But in a car, yes, you are very happy. You went there, bought, and your smiles and balloons, all that. Why can't you bring that to the house? That's the hope and prayer that we should be able to deliver.
Interesting. Okay. Now, this is my last question to you. So, any parting words to someone looking to build their new home?
Don't build. Just don't build. That's all. Stop building.
Okay.
Go buy a manufactured product. Be there when it is being manufactured. Ensure whatever is mentioned in the catalog is what goes into your house. Yeah? And ask for guarantees. Ask for warranties.
Correct.
Like, we were talking.
Yeah.
A mixie will cost 3,000 rupees. You ask for a warranty. You have a service center. This is your lifetime earning. Why are you taken for granted?
Correct.
You have a choice now. Use it.
True. Great. Thanks a lot for a lot of information about the future of construction, especially future of housing in India. I urge you guys to check out Sir's site, which is homemission.com. I will link them in the description. And thanks a lot for this, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kishore.